Hey guys, what's going on? It's Mike with FormAWin here to help you guys get your first engineering job. Today we're talking about how easy it is to get an internship. Let's get into the video.
FormAWin for over 4 months now.
Part of the FormAWin community for a couple months now.
I just got my first internship.
Just landed my first internship.
The biggest thing I want you guys to do is take one thing away from today and make sure you implement it, change your life.
100% directly resulted in me getting an internship offer.
All right, guys, let's get into it. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be giving you a perspective, tactical tips, and showing you how to go from a good student to a great student. And by doing this, you're going to make it super easy to get your internship, full-time opportunity, and then the sky's the limit past that. All right, guys? So listen, stay tuned for everything we're going to have to talk about here. It's going to be really cool. Make sure you have a pen, piece of paper. Make sure you're not on your phone. Make sure you're actually locked into this video wherever you are. If you're driving, at the gym, if you're at school, if you're actually taking notes on a laptop or something, perfect. Wherever it is, just focus on this moment, okay? Because everything I'm about to talk about is going to change your whole perspective on your engineering career journey as a student, or if you're working as an intern or as a full-time engineer. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about this. So what makes a good engineering student? I'm going to read these out and then we're going to go over each one individually. So number one is going to be focus on classes, improve technical skills, go to career fairs, join a club, and secure an internship. So again, this is what makes a good student. Now, I almost want to talk about this as, this is the basic bare minimum to do anything. If you're not focusing on this, then you're not improving at all. Now, where I want to challenge everybody with, let's just go one by one. Focusing on classes. If you only focus on classes and that's the biggest thing that you're doing, now listen, I was there. It was hard for me to study. It was hard for me to grasp control of all this until I learned how to do so. Now, when you learn how to study, get good grades, do homework, do all this stuff and manage it so that it becomes, 5% of your time instead of 90% of your time, you can obviously use a lot more efficient time to go out and do some more stuff, right? But really, you just need to get a handle on this, because when you get a handle on this and you realize where the actual application is to where you exactly want to be, and what I often say is if you know exactly what type of engineering or what specific things you like studying after you start studying it, then go full force on that, sure. But if you don't and you're like, I don't know if I really want to do this, or I don't really know how applicable this is, get through the class, but that doesn't mean you need to get a 99. I'm super against that, because the amount of effort it takes to go from an 80 to a 99 is so drastic. It could easily turn into 40 hours a week, and that's easily a work week, right? And that work week can better be spent somewhere else, because our end goal here is to get an awesome internship at an awesome company, or an awesome job at an awesome company, and make our dreams come true, right? So that's number one. If you only focus on this stuff, we can't have that. Now, number two, improve your technical skills. I hear this all the time. As an engineer, we only want to focus on our technical skills. Listen, the thing about that is you guys are doing technical work all day as engineers, whether you're in classes, projects, work, whatever it is, right? So as you're doing that, if it's basic and you're not challenged, you need to look at that and maybe try something more challenging, right? Just replace that and make that time more efficient, because you're already doing that kind of work, whether you're studying classes or whatever it is, right? So you should just try to be the best at that and do the best that you can, right? And you're going to be improving your technical skills by just doing that. So I wouldn't overly focus on doing something outside of that, where you're drastically improving your technical skills beyond belief. That might pay off if you're super interested in something, but if you're not super interested in something, that's going to do you more of a detriment, because there's other things you should be focusing on, right? Again, we need to audit our time and how we spend this time. And this is the framework that we use for our clients and how they get success. So I'm just teaching you from experience, from what I've done, what our clients do, and how they secure these offers. So the next one we're going to talk about is going to career fairs. You need to do this. Not saying not to do it, but if this is all you do, and this is the only place that you go out to network, this is the only place you go to see some jobs opening, the only place you're shaking hands with people that have positions to offer you, that's a problem. I'm gonna leave it there. We're gonna touch on that more on the next one, but that's a problem if that's the only place you're shaking hands to get to places. Next, joining a club. If that's also all you're doing at school, or your involvement, you're joining a club and you're like, okay, cool, I'm a member. I'm sure you guys have seen people on LinkedIn or maybe resumes or something, and they list that they're members of 5 different clubs, right? And that's their biggest accomplishment. Don't be that person. Don't do that, right? That's good, because it's better if you don't have that versus if you have that. That's obviously good, right? But we don't want to do the bare minimum, right? So there's more that you can do. Don't just do that with your time. Next is securing an internship. This is a little controversial. This is a little bit weird, but if all we're doing is securing an internship, and that's like the big goal that we have, and that's the benchmark of where we're at, and once we do that, we say, okay, I secured an internship, I'm part of a club, I'm working on my technical skills, I'm doing good in my classes, I'm gonna go to this career fair. You think you're on top of the world. You're not. There's so much more you can do. There's so much more things you can do with intent. And I'm gonna teach you exactly how to do that, to go from good to great, and how to make it easy to get an engineering job. Because it's super easy to do so, especially if you adopt this framework. And then I want you to start thinking, how can I change up my frame of thinking to accomplish even bigger goals. Because this is a mountain we're climbing. When you went through high school, you had to get into college. That was the big mountain you were climbing. Once you accomplish that, the next big mountain is finding this position and getting through college, right? At the tip of that mountain, though, is graduating and getting a full-time offer where we want to. We don't want to just settle for something, right? So if we operate out of this framework and figure out how to condense that mountain peak to come down a lot smaller, we can accomplish a lot more and then go to the next mountain peak, right? So that's the framework that we use, and that's what I like to teach everybody, because if we do that, it compresses time frames, makes things easier, but we also learn a lot faster, right? I'm a big fan of learning fast, compressing time frames, and making things happen a lot quicker than average. So with that said, we're gonna talk about great things, but before that, if you have gotten any value out of this video, like, comment, subscribe, and if you need help with anything, reach out to me. My number is 305-923-8724. Again, 305-923-8724. I got your back for life. Reach out to me, whatever you need, I got you. So as far as the great things go, these are also some really important things. You're not gonna get them immediately. I'm gonna read them out again, then we're gonna go through it. So, number 1, treat your career like a business. Number 2, know 50 engineers at 50 different companies. Number 3, have a coach. Number 4, build a brand. Number 5, audit your circle. So number 1, treat your career like a business. I talk about this all the time, 24/7. I can't emphasize it enough. Let's just talk about it. Your career is not just a job. It's not just a 9-to-5 job. It's not a 9-to-5 job and then you go out and do other stuff and you don't worry about what you're doing. It's not just work. If it's just work and it's just a job and you don't care too much about it, you probably shouldn't be doing it. I like to say, people come to me and I talk with them. I either want them to become the best engineers in the world, fall in love with it, or quit engineering. That's what I want. I don't want you sitting in the middle. So with that said, if we don't treat it like a job and we treat it like a business, we start thinking in a business mindset where we say, okay, how can we make this business profitable? And profitable in this career sense is by just making the most of it in all aspects. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're treating your career like a business, you start thinking like, hey, outside of classes, outside of, just going to do some of these basic good things, like what else can I do? What else do some of the top engineers do? What else do some of the other people do in this industry that have accomplished a lot and they're good leaders and I respect them and I want to emulate some of the things that they have, right? And then you start thinking a little bit different. Then you start challenging yourself, you start growing, getting uncomfortable, then you start expanding what you're capable of. That's where the growth happens. And if you start expanding what you're capable of, then that mountain peak shrinks because you're expanding what your thought process is and it becomes so much shorter of a cliff or so much shorter of a mountain. That way you can hop over it and then go to the next thing. That's the framework, that's the mindset, that's just mindset. We go through a lot of tactical things inside the FormAWin program, such as branding, helping you secure all these relationships, build and navigate these paths, which directly translates into this next one here, which is know 50 engineers at 50 different companies. I'm willing to bet you don't know 50 engineers at 50 different companies. That's a problem. I do, a lot of my clients do, and that's number 1 on our list. Super easy, go out, do it. If not, and you don't know how to maintain, and it's just not, and it's not just know. It's having relationships with 50 people at different companies. That means actively and being able to call them and do whatever and just be friends, right? Are you able to do that? You need to be doing it, okay? Next is having a coach. I'm a big fan of coaches. I've had coaches my whole life, whether that was in fitness, whether that was in high school to get to college, through all the testing, whether that was in college to help me get into my career, whether that was now with different finances and expanding my belief. And I've always been a fan of coaches because they help compress time frames. And the only way to know what you don't know is by getting around people that know what you don't know. And if you get around people that know what you don't know and spend a lot of time with them and let them teach you specifically how they got from point A to point B, it changes your life. So that's that. Next one is building a brand. Engineers need to build a brand. You need to build a brand. And it's very important because that's where your database is, that's where your life is, that's where everything can change, and that's where you can start navigating and treating your career like a business outside of just okay, here's my resume, and that's all there is to me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not the only thing that you should be doing. Next is audit your circle. Now, I'm gonna end with that point because the biggest thing is auditing your circle. If you're around, the 5 people you spend the most time with, that's who you become. If the 5 people you spend the most time with only focus on this stuff, or maybe have a little bit of a limited belief, or they're constantly struggling with stuff, or they're not growing, and they're not developing, and they're not on that same page of just wanting to be the best that they can be, and just improve every day and be a true leader and lead by example and live a life full of passion and try to be the best engineer they can be. If they're not doing that, and maybe they're investing their time elsewhere, maybe going out to parties or going out or just like whatever it is that you don't want, and they're doing that, you need to audit your circle. And you need to be around people that think like great leaders and want to be great engineers. That's what we got for you today, guys. Hope you got a lot of value. See you guys on the next episode. Go FormAWin.